America is in the throes of a deadly drug epidemic. We've heard about the opioid crisis, the devastating rise of fentanyl. Now, a new threat emerges: Xylazine. This potent animal tranquilizer, often called tranq, is infiltrating our drug supply. Xylazine is often mixed with fentanyl, amplifying its potency and creating horrific side effects. The results are devastating: increased overdoses, severe tissue damage, and a growing sense of despair. This is not just another drug story, it's a story of human beings caught in a web of addiction, poverty, and hopelessness. It's a story that demands our attention, our compassion, and our action. We must understand this crisis to begin to address it. We must shine a light on the darkest corners of our society and offer a helping hand to those who need it most. This is a call to action, a plea for empathy, and a reminder that we are all in this together. The epicenter of this crisis is Philadelphia, a city grappling with the devastating effects of xylazine-laced fentanyl. The streets bear witness to the human toll of this epidemic, a stark reminder of the urgency of the situation. But Philadelphia is just one battleground in a war being waged across the nation. Xylazine is spreading, its tendrils reaching into communities large and small, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. This is not just a Philadelphia story, it's an American story, a story that demands our attention, our compassion, and our action. Xylazine is not a recreational drug. It's a powerful sedative used by veterinarians to tranquilize large animals like horses and deer. It's not meant for human consumption and has no place in our communities. But the illicit drug trade operates without conscience, driven by profit and fueled by desperation. Xylazine is cheap and readily available, making it an attractive cutting agent for dealers looking to maximize their profits. Imagine the strength it takes to sedate a 1,000-pound animal. Now imagine that same drug being injected into a human body. The effects are predictable and devastating. Xylazine slows breathing and heart rate, often to dangerously low levels. It causes disorientation, confusion, and a profound sense of detachment from reality. The most disturbing side effect of xylazine is its impact on human tissue. Prolonged use causes open sores to develop, often becoming severely infected. These wounds, slow to heal and prone to infection, are a constant reminder of the drug's devastating power. The physical effects of xylazine are horrifying, but the drug's impact extends far beyond the physical. It erodes the mind, steals hope, and leaves its victims trapped in a cycle of addiction and despair. It's a cruel irony that a drug designed to ease the suffering of animals is now causing unimaginable pain and suffering in humans. Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia has become synonymous with the xylazine crisis. Once a thriving commercial corridor, it's now an open-air drug market, ravaged by addiction and despair. The streets are littered with needles, and the air is thick with the smell of despair. The faces of those caught in addiction tell a story of pain, loss, and a desperate longing for escape. Walk down Kensington Avenue, and you'll see people slumped over, their bodies ravaged by xylazine. They are often described as zombies, their movements slow and labored, their eyes vacant and distant. But these are not monsters. They are our brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters. They are human beings who have fallen prey to a powerful and unforgiving addiction. The people of Kensington are not defined by their addiction. They are mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, friends, and neighbors. They are people who have lost their way, victims of a system that has failed them. They deserve our compassion, not our judgment. They deserve our help, not our scorn. Kensington Avenue is a microcosm of a national crisis. It's a stark reminder of the human toll of addiction and the urgent need for compassion, understanding, and action. It's a call to remember the humanity of those affected by this crisis and to recognize that they are not defined by their struggles. The term zombie drug is both evocative and deeply problematic. It conjures images of the undead, creatures stripped of their humanity, driven by a primal urge to consume. It's a powerful image, one that has captured the public imagination and fueled a sense of fear and revulsion. But this term is dehumanizing and unhelpful. It reduces complex human beings to caricatures, fueling stigma and obscuring the reality of addiction. The term zombie drug may be a convenient shorthand for a complex issue, but it's a dangerous oversimplification. It's crucial to remember that the people suffering from this addiction are not monsters. They are human beings trapped in a cycle of addiction, poverty, and despair. The slow, shuffling movements, the vacant stares, the open sores, these are not signs of a lack of humanity. They are the physical manifestations of a powerful drug, symptoms of a disease that affects the brain and the body. To call someone a zombie is to deny their humanity, to strip them of their dignity, and to ignore the complex factors that contribute to addiction. We must move beyond the sensationalized headlines and the dehumanizing language. We must see the human beings behind the labels, the individuals struggling with a disease. Only then can we begin to address this crisis with the compassion and understanding it deserves. Section 5. A toxic cocktail, xylazine and fentanyl's deadly synergy. The combination of xylazine and fentanyl is a recipe for disaster. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid up to 100 times more potent than morphine, is already a major contributor to the overdose epidemic. When combined with xylazine, its effects are amplified, creating a perfect storm of sedation, respiratory depression, and tissue damage. Xylazine prolongs the effects of fentanyl, leading to extended periods of sedation and increasing the risk of overdose. It also constricts blood vessels, reducing blood flow to the extremities and increasing the risk of tissue damage and infection. This combination is particularly dangerous because xylazine is not an opioid. Naloxone, also known as Narcan, the life-saving medication used to reverse opioid overdoses, is ineffective against xylazine. This means that overdoses involving xylazine are more difficult to treat and more likely to be fatal. The combination of xylazine and fentanyl is a public health emergency. It's a deadly cocktail that is killing people at an alarming rate. Section 6. No easy way out. The lack of an antidote for xylazine. The lack of an effective antidote for xylazine poses a significant challenge to first responders and medical professionals. When someone overdoses on opioids like fentanyl, naloxone can be administered to reverse the overdose and save their life. However, there is no such antidote for xylazine. This means that overdoses involving xylazine are more complex to treat and carry a higher risk of fatality. The absence of an antidote highlights the urgency of addressing the xylazine crisis. We need more research to understand the drug's effects on the human body and to develop effective treatments for xylazine overdose. We also need to explore harm reduction strategies, such as providing access to clean needles and testing kits to reduce the risk of overdose and disease transmission. The lack of an antidote for xylazine is a stark reminder of the challenges we face in addressing this complex crisis. It underscores the need for a multi-pronged approach that includes research, prevention, treatment, and harm reduction. Section 7. Fentanyl, the silent killer. Fueling the overdose epidemic. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid up to 100 times more potent than morphine, is a driving force behind the current overdose epidemic. It's cheap to produce, easy to smuggle, and incredibly potent, making it an attractive additive for drug dealers looking to increase their profits. Fentanyl is often laced into other drugs, such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine, without the user's knowledge. This means that people who think they are taking a familiar drug may be unknowingly ingesting a lethal dose of fentanyl. The effects of fentanyl are swift and deadly. It rapidly slows breathing and heart rate, leading to unconsciousness, coma, and death. The high potency of fentanyl makes it extremely dangerous, and even a tiny amount can be fatal. The proliferation of fentanyl in the drug supply is a major public health crisis. It's a silent killer, lurking in the shadows, claiming lives without warning. Section 8. Hope on the horizon. Combating the crisis with compassion. The Xylazine and fentanyl crisis is a complex problem that demands a multifaceted solution. We need to address the root causes of addiction, such as poverty, trauma, and lack of access to mental health care. We need to expand access to treatment programs and support services for people struggling with addiction. Harm reduction strategies, such as providing access to clean needles, naloxone and fentanyl testing strips, are essential for reducing overdoses and saving lives. We also need to increase public awareness about the dangers of xylazine and fentanyl and educate people about the signs of overdose. The fight against the xylazine and fentanyl crisis is a fight for human lives. It's a fight that requires compassion, understanding, and a commitment to evidence-based solutions. Section 9. A call to action, breaking the chains of addiction. The xylazine and fentanyl crisis is a call to action for all of us. We cannot afford to turn a blind eye to the suffering of our fellow human beings. We must demand that our elected officials prioritize this issue and allocate the resources needed to address it. We can all play a role in combating this crisis. Educate yourself about the dangers of xylazine and fentanyl. Talk to your friends and family about this issue. Support organizations working on the front lines of this epidemic. Advocate for policies that promote harm reduction and expand access to treatment. The xylazine and fentanyl crisis is a test of our humanity. It's a reminder that we are all connected and that the suffering of one affects us all. Together, we can break the chains of addiction and create a brighter future for all.